You may find this surprising, but if you're seeing this now, it's no coincidence. Some people feel deeply unsettled by your growing confidence and the independence you're embracing. Your personal growth has reached a level where you challenge those who once found comfort in controlling or underestimating you. If you watch for at least 13 minutes, you affirm that you're ready to fully absorb this message. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment 77 to signal to the universe that you're open to receiving. Then leave another comment, expressing ready for what's next in your own words. By doing this, you're inviting immediate, tangible benefits and stepping into a powerful new phase of transformation. Chapter 1. You sense your upgraded self. On the surface, your daily routine may seem unchanged, working, socializing, running errands, but something within you has shifted. You sense an upgraded version of yourself emerging, carrying a raw and unfiltered confidence that wasn't there before. It's as if you've been standing in the shadows for too long, allowing others to dictate your path, and now a light is turned on inside you, revealing the potential you've kept hidden. This transformation didn't happen overnight. It may have been sparked by betrayal, a job loss, or a deeply personal setback. You realized you could endure far more than you once believed, and from that endurance, new courage took root. Challenges often serve as reminders of the strength chosen ones tend to forget they have. With every obstacle you overcame, another layer of fear dissolved. Now you stand with quiet determination, refusing to bow to intimidation or let the opinions of others dictate your direction. Since this shift, you've noticed subtle differences in how people respond to you. Some offer more compliments, sensing a new energy in you but unable to pinpoint the change. Others, especially those who once thrived on your insecurities, seem uneasy, fidgeting when you speak or attempting to undermine your newfound confidence. They recognize that their old tactics, gaslighting, manipulation, guilt trips, no longer hold the same power over you. You pick up on their discomfort in their body language. It's clear they struggle with the fact that you now see through their games. A part of you wonders why you didn't step into this confidence sooner, but as a chosen one, your timing is never random. Every challenge was a lesson, refining your character at the perfect moment. The storms that once shook your self-esteem were forging resilience, ensuring that when your confidence emerged, it would be unshakable. Each closed door, each heartbreak, was a stepping stone preparing you for this exact moment, where no one else's approval can dim your certainty. Now you find yourself with a quiet expectation of something bigger looming. This is not arrogance. It's spiritual readiness. You feel it each morning when you wake up, a certainty that your voice, your vision, your presence has a role to play in shifting environments. You can't shrink back to old patterns even if you tried. The universe has seen your inner transformation and is aligning opportunities accordingly. And because you recognize your value, you won't settle for spaces that demean or stifle you. Instead, you march forward, trusting that your new level of fearlessness is precisely what God intended all along. People who underestimated you or tried to box you in find themselves confronted by someone they barely recognize. And that's not your problem. It's their wake-up call. Chapter 2. Your independence redefines your relationships. Friends, family, and colleagues who once saw you as the go-to helper or the easily influenced partner might be thrown off by your fresh independence. You used to be the one who said yes to every favor, adjusted your plans to keep everyone happy, or quietly tolerated digs at your expense. Now, if a request or comment clashes with your dignity or your path, you calmly say no. This shift unsettles those who relied on your compliance or minimal pushback. And because you're a chosen one, your stance carries a kind of moral authority that jolts them further. Some may accuse you of being distant or acting different. In reality, you're setting boundaries that reflect your self-worth. God never intended you to be everyone's doormat or punching bag. By reclaiming your autonomy, you're affirming that your time, energy, and emotional capacity are precious. This doesn't mean you've stopped caring or turned selfish. It means you no longer volunteer to drain yourself for people who offer nothing but exploitation in return. It's a sign of spiritual maturity that you can love others while still protecting your own essence. As you exercise this independence, certain relationships naturally recalibrate. Allies who genuinely appreciate your growth will adapt, respecting your new boundaries and even celebrating them. They might also be curious, what triggered this evolution? Or how did you gain such clarity? If they have sincere hearts, you likely deepen your bond, forging ties based on respect rather than habit or guilt. Conversely, those who can't handle your autonomy might drift away or, worse, lash out. If that happens, understand that not everyone is prepared for the accountability your new stance brings. Don't be tempted to revert to appeasement just to keep peace. The spiritual cost is too high. By standing firm, you model the kind of healthy self-regard that others might need to see to break out of their own dysfunctional cycles. Indeed, your independence can be contagious, inspiring friends who've long been doormats themselves to reevaluate how they let others treat them. This ripple effect is part of your role as a chosen one. You uplift by example, not just by words. In professional settings, watch how the dynamic shifts. Maybe a coworker who once felt free to delegate their workload onto you now hesitates, recognizing you'll decline tasks that aren't yours. A boss who's thrived on intimidation finds you unmoved by threats of disapproval, forcing them to treat you with genuine respect. Such changes can cause short-term friction, but ultimately yield a healthier atmosphere. Your independence reshapes the environment, aligning it closer to God's design for fair and truthful interactions. Ultimately, your relationships reorganize themselves around your authentic self rather than a version molded for others' convenience. That's a sign of real spiritual progress. You may grieve certain connections that fade, but your sorrow is eased by the realization that what remains or enters anew will be relationships of substance and mutual elevation. And that's precisely how your life expands once you stop living for external validation and embrace the fearless independence God wired you for. Chapter 3. You're pushing past old boundaries. You've spent portions of your life abiding by unspoken rules, norms that told you what you could achieve, how far you should dream, or which social strata you should remain in. These boundaries might have been internal, shaped by fear or self-doubt, or external, enforced by controlling individuals who thrived on keeping you small. Now that era is ending. Your spirit is stepping beyond these barriers, and it unsettles people who benefited from your old limitations. Think about how you used to set modest goals, half expecting failure, or accept subpar treatment because you feared conflict. As a chosen one, you always sensed something within you yearning to break free, but apprehension about upsetting the status quo held you back. Through trials and prayers, God honed your courage so thoroughly that those old boundaries can't contain you anymore. You find yourself exploring new fields, maybe launching a business or pivoting to a drastically different career despite the naysayers around you. Naturally, your sudden strides draw attention. Some folks who watched you hesitantly navigate life now blink in disbelief at your daring moves. Their comfort zone demanded that you remain in a supportive role, never overshadowing them or challenging their illusions. Now they sense your capabilities outshine their own, and that stirs envy or fear. They question your every step, not because you're wrong, but because your expansion threatens their complacency. And it's not just personal associates. Even institutions might bristle when you, with your fearless independence, question old processes or suggest radical improvements. But that's what being chosen entails. You see solutions the status quo refuses to consider. Despite the friction, your innovative ideas can't be brushed off forever. People eventually notice that your approach yields results, forcing them to confront how outdated methods hold them back. Stepping past boundaries also unlocks deeper aspects of your identity. You realize you're not just an employee, friend, or family member. You're a visionary, an influencer, or a spiritual warrior, however you choose to define it. That broader self-view gives birth to opportunities you never imagined. Maybe people begin inviting you to speak, consult, or lead projects, intrigued by the raw authenticity you emit. Rather than trembling under the weight of these invitations, you welcome them, confident that your faith in God's guidance is stronger than any lingering doubts. Of course, your expansion can be lonely at times. Pioneers often walk roads that few comprehend initially, yet there's also joy in discovering your true capacity. Each boundary you crush affirms that your potential was never meant to be stifled by conventional norms or manipulative individuals. This sense of liberation fuels a cycle of success. Once you break one barrier, you gain momentum to break the next. And as you press forward, you carry a glow that says, I know who I am now, and I'm unashamed to live in that fullness. That's the unstoppable wave you generate by daring to push past everything that once confined you. Chapter 4. Your fearlessness shatters their control. In many circles, fear is currency. People comply because they dread punishment, judgment, or exclusion. Narcissists, control freaks, or manipulative leaders use fear as their lever to maintain power. But once a chosen one outgrows that fear, the entire structure built on intimidation wobbles. That's exactly what's happening with you right now. Your fearlessness isn't about being reckless. It's about refusing to let terror distort your decisions or hamper your destiny. Recall the times you tiptoed around certain individuals or institutions, anxiously seeking their approval. Each instance chipped away at your authenticity. Slowly, though, you realized God never intended you to live in perpetual anxiety. So you confronted your fear, whether it was fear of losing a job, fear of social backlash, or fear of being misunderstood. Through prayer and introspection, you discovered that faith in God's plan dissolves the illusions that keep people caged in dread. Those who relied on your fear, like certain manipulative bosses or acquaintances, sense they can't wave that old cadaverous stick approach at you anymore. Threats of ostracism, career sabotage, or emotional blackmail fail to provoke you like before. You see how flimsy their threats are once you align with divine assurance. This unsettles them deeply. Their entire hold on you hinged on the notion that you needed them more than they needed you. Now you've reversed that dynamic, asserting your independence without fear. They lose their power to control. When your fearlessness rips away their control, they might attempt new tactics, smearing your name or rallying others to question your credibility. But you've already braced yourself for such backlash. It's part of the price of genuine freedom. And ironically, these smear attempts often backfire, painting them as desperate while spotlighting your calm composure. People notice who's stooping to low tactics and who remains dignified under pressure. Spiritual backing also fortifies your fearlessness. You sense God's presence, the intangible but potent reassurance that you won't be left stranded, even if your path gets turbulent. Each test becomes an opportunity for God to demonstrate faithfulness. This synergy fosters unwavering confidence. You operate with the conviction that no matter what intimidation tactics arise, you'll not only survive but thrive, pivoting each challenge into an upgrade. In dismantling fear-based control, you're setting an example for others caught in similar webs. They see you stand tall, refusing to cave, and wonder if they too can break free. That silent ripple effect can initiate waves of collective emancipation. Co-workers, friends, or even strangers might reevaluate their own subservience to fear-laden structures. That's how your personal triumph weaves into a broader movement of liberation. By stepping out of fear, you model a reality where intimidation fails and truth stands triumphant, firmly anchored in spiritual confidence that no mortal threat can shake. Chapter 5. You are building new alliances. Once fear leaves the picture, your social dynamics can shift dramatically. People who once hovered in the background, too intimidated to fully connect, might now feel free to approach you. They see your independence not as arrogance, but as an invitation to form authentic connections outside of oppressive hierarchies. This fosters a kind of alliance-building stage in your life, where like-minded souls gravitate toward your orbit, sensing you share a vision of genuine fellowship. Some alliances might emerge from surprising corners. Perhaps a colleague who initially seemed aloof now reveals they share your disdain for manipulative leadership. Or an old acquaintance reconnects, excited by your recent transformation and longing for similar growth. These encounters are rarely accidental. God orchestrates them so you can pull strengths, encourage each other, and undertake bigger initiatives together. After all, chosen ones often accomplish more collectively than they could solo. In forging these alliances, you adopt a selective approach. You're not flinging open the gates to anyone offering vague compliments. Instead, you rely on your sharpened discernment to sense who resonates genuinely. Are they drawn to your energy for mutual uplift? Or do they see an opportunity to piggyback on your success? By staying alert, you minimize infiltration by opportunistic personalities. This careful vetting ensures your new circle remains a sanctuary of mutual respect. As alliances solidify, you might feel a renewed push to collaborate on projects that once felt too daunting. A friend's skill set complements your own. Maybe you're a visionary, but need logistical expertise. The synergy births creative solutions that surpass your solo efforts. You realize that independence and collaboration aren't opposites. They're complementary forces. You stand firm in your own identity, yet merge powers with others to amplify what each can do. Your alliances also serve as a protective net. While you're fully capable, you're not impervious to exhaustion or oversight. Trusted allies can spot blind spots, intervene if negativity attempts to seep back in, or simply remind you why you started this journey. With them, you exchange counsel, refine your ideas, and catch each other if someone wavers. This mutual support acts like a fortress none of you had before, solidifying your collective resilience. Soon enough, these alliances might extend beyond local circles. You find yourself connecting with people internationally, drawn together by shared values. Technology aids this bridging, letting you collaborate across borders. And in that broadening community, your status as a chosen one who overcame intimidation stands out. People flock to your example, seeking practical wisdom on how they too can break free from fear. That's how alliances form a chain reaction, allowing you to collectively reshape norms that once seemed immutable, each bond reinforcing your unstoppable momentum. Chapter 6. Your spiritual edge outlasts their tactics. One of the greatest advantages you possess is your spiritual grounding. While adversaries or skeptics might employ clever strategies, manipulative rumors, or cunning negotiations, your edge lies in the relationship you have with God, a direct channel that offers guidance they can't fathom. It's not about boasting spiritual superiority. It's about acknowledging that you draw upon a reservoir of wisdom that extends beyond intellectual cunning or social strategy. Time and again, when confronted with sudden hurdles, someone tries to sabotage your project or discredit your name, you get these intuitive nudges. Maybe a dream warns you of someone's betrayal, or a strong feeling urges you to double-check a detail you otherwise would have overlooked. These coincidences save you from pitfalls, exposing malicious plots before they gain traction. People observing may label it coincidence, but you know better. It's divine orchestration. This spiritual edge also allows you to remain calm when others panic. In heated negotiations, for instance, you sense how to steer the conversation, empathizing with the deeper needs behind the other side's demands. Your equanimity disarms their aggression. Or when an argument erupts, you manage to diffuse it by pinpointing the root cause, not the superficial conflict. That's the difference between worldly strategy, which focuses on short-term wins, and divine insight, which aims at lasting resolution. Additionally, your edge helps you recover quickly from setbacks. While the average person might spiral into despair after a major disappointment, your spirit bounces back with renewed clarity. You interpret defeats as lessons rather than final verdicts. This resilience bewilders those who try to break your spirit. They can't comprehend how you bounce back stronger, your faith fueling every comeback. Each time they realize their intimidation or sabotage amounts to wasted effort. Yes, your spiritual advantage can alienate those who rely on cunning alone. They label you lucky or unusually blessed, seeking rational excuses for why their schemes fail around you. In truth, they're grappling with the intangible dimension of your life. They sense you stand guard under a higher authority that no human cunning can supersede. This revelation intensifies their fear, explaining why they'd rather avoid confronting you at all. In harnessing your spiritual edge, you don't flaunt superiority. You quietly consult God for daily direction ensures your path remains aligned with truth and compassion. You stay open to learning, knowing the more you grow, the deeper your spiritual reserves become. Meanwhile, those determined to undermine you find themselves thwarted, not by raw force, but by an invisible presence that keeps turning curses into blessings. The more they oppose you, the more it reveals the strength of your anchor in the divine. In that unwavering stance, you fulfill your role as a chosen one, someone unstoppable because your life moves in sync with a power far beyond any mortal ploy. Chapter 7. You're poised for monumental shifts. Having embraced your independence and shaken off the intimidation tactics of those threatened by your fearlessness, you stand at the threshold of monumental life shifts. Every struggle leading up to this moment has served a purpose: to refine your resolve, clarify your vision, and expand your capacity for impact. God sees you're no longer shackled by fear or manipulated by external pressures, and that readiness positions you for leaps you never imagined feasible. In practical terms, this might look like a sudden career leap, a relocation to a more vibrant environment, or a dramatic pivot in your personal projects. The universe responds to your new frequency. No longer do you attract manipulative or small-minded energies. Instead, opportunities that resonate with your higher calling start lining up. It's not an accident that doors that once slammed in your face are now swinging open. You aligned with the wave of possibility the moment you stopped letting fear define your choices. People around you may be shocked by how quickly you ascend. They see you taking giant steps, like launching a venture, forging unexpected partnerships, or receiving recognition from influential figures. Some might whisper that you got lucky, but your allies, who witnessed your trials, know better. They recognize the divine script unfolding, each victory a testament to your unwavering faith and the cosmic reward for your perseverance. The scale of these changes might feel surreal, but deep down, you always sensed your life was destined for more. Major transformations come with new responsibilities. What once seemed optional now becomes essential in shaping your new reality. Whether it's serving a community in need, advocating for meaningful change, or using your skills to uplift those without guidance, you experience a level of fulfillment that ordinary ambition could never provide. Every success or recognition isn't just a personal victory, it's a tool for advancing a greater purpose. This is how chosen ones rise without falling into arrogance. They root every achievement in service while remaining humble and aware. Those who once feared your independence and courage may resort to desperate attempts to tarnish your name or hinder your progress. But they can't undo your transformation. You've experienced the freedom of living without fear, and there's no returning to who you were before. Even if they create temporary obstacles, your vision is too broad and your resilience too strong. You recognize the distractions for what they are, staying focused on the true transformations unfolding. As you continue stepping forward, keep your spiritual foundation strong. Seek guidance in your decisions, trusting that any door not meant for you will close, whether gently or abruptly. If fear resurfaces in brief moments, remind yourself of the distance you've already traveled. You're no longer the hesitant soul walking on eggshells around others' insecurities. You are a powerful force, unstoppable in your mission because you stand on God's promise. That unstoppable momentum will only intensify from here, ensuring that the next chapter of your life is defined by growth, impact, and the undeniable radiance of a chosen one fully awakened to their divine purpose.